Today's video is how to get yourself on the OPP's most wanted list. Number 1, be Indigenous. Number 2, be an award-winning journalist. And number 3, dare to cover Indigenous land defense stories. See a pattern here? Well, stay tuned to learn more about the increasing criminalization of Native journalists. Welcome back, warriors. Kwe Tanse Sego. Hi, my name is Pam Palmater, and welcome to my YouTube channel where we focus on educating the resistance and inspiring the next generation of warriors to help us save our peoples and the planet. Today's video is about the wrongful arrest of award-winning Native journalist and radio host Carl Dockstader by the OPP for simply covering events happening at 1492 Land Back Lane. Now, this isn't the first time that law enforcement has attempted to suppress the media when covering Indigenous land defense stories, and it likely won't be the last unless we take actions to hold them to account. Especially since everyone knows that freedom of the press is a constitutionally protected right here in Canada. But before I get into the details of how Carl Dockstader became OPP's most wanted, I want to acknowledge that all of this is happening in the same week that marks 25 years since the OPP shot and killed unarmed, peaceful land defender Dudley George. His death is a huge loss to his family, his community, and his nation. The wrongful killing of Dudley George also led to the Ipperwash Inquiry, which called on the OPP to address widespread racism against Native peoples in its police force, especially in the context of Native land occupations and protests. And that includes how the OPP engages with the media. It's now 25 years later, and Chief Jason Henry of Chippewas of Kettle and Stony Point First Nation says that they are still waiting for the lands to be officially transferred back to reserve status and safe housing for his people. He also says that his people will never stop until all of their lands have been returned. 25 years later, and another nation, the Haudenosaunee at Six Nations, are still seeking the return of their lands in the Haldimand Tract, lands that are rightfully theirs. Only 14 years ago, a proposed Douglas Creek's Estate subdivision in Caledonia on Six Nations lands resulted in Six Nations band members occupying those lands that were slated for development. Their occupation of their own lands resulted in counter-protests by local residents, which lasted for months. And while this resulted in government commitments to negotiate the land issue, the right of Six Nations to own, use, occupy, and govern all of their own lands, including the Haldimand Tract, has never been fully resolved. It should be no surprise then that when another developer proposed to build another community known as Mackenzie Meadows in Caledonia, Six Nations peoples occupied their lands and peacefully camped there to remind all levels of government that that's Six Nation land. And if you want to know more about the details of 1492 Land Back Lane, you can check out my Warrior Life podcast episode with Skylar Williams and Micah Burning, or the video, both of which I will leave links below. So what's happening at 1492 Land Back Lane? Well, one of the journalists that's been keeping us all updated is Carl Dockstader. He has been tweeting updates and sharing short videos, at least until he was arrested by the OPP. Carl Dockstader is no Nida man. He's an award-winning journalist, and he's also the co-host of the radio show One Dish, One Mic with Sean Vanderklis. He's also a family man who was arrested last week for trying to cover what's happening on 1492 Land Back Lane on location. Then, despite informing the OPP that he is in fact a journalist, he was arrested by the OPP. Was he committing a crime? Was he posing a danger to anyone? Was he making threats? No, he was simply doing his job as a journalist by going into Haudenosaunee territory, embedding himself within the camp over a matter of days to report on what's happening on the ground, to actually get the voices of the native land defenders out there. However, that seems to be enough for the OPP to arrest him and charge him. Now, I would love to tell you all the alleged grounds of his alleged offense, but I can't. None of us can. Neither the OPP or the Crown will even tell Carl what he did wrong. And if this sounds wrong to you, you're not alone. The Canadian Association of Journalists and Canadian Journalists for Free Expression have condemned the OPP's arrest of Carl. The Canadian Civil Liberties Association also stated that they'll support Carl if this matter goes to court. St. Catharines Mayor Walter Sendzik took to Twitter to express serious concerns over the OPP arresting Carl, stating categorically that he stands with Carl, as did St. Catharines councillor Lori Littleton. CKTB, the station which hosts Carl and Sean's show One Dish One Mic, issued a statement of support as well, and so did the Fort Erie Native Friendship Center. Literally, people all over social media are expressing concerns over the criminalization of land occupations and the media which try to cover those stories. Now, the Ipperwash inquiry raised the point that most Canadians learn about what happens at Native occupations from the media. They cited findings of media experts that there was no independent media account of the OPP shooting and killing of Dudley George, and the fact that the media tends to give priority to police accounts. Of the 92 opinion pieces that were written of the incident, only 3 had actually visited Ipperwash. So what's changed? Now, 25 years later, you have an award-winning journalist who is Indigenous and embeds himself within the camp to develop a respectful relationship, to be able to report on the entire context of the land occupation over a period of days. This is literally the kind of in-depth reporting of Indigenous perspectives and voices of land defenders that we need. It certainly shouldn't be criminalized. Now, when I first talked to Carl about what happened, my first thought was about, well, what about war correspondents? They embed themselves in the military or within communities for weeks or even months at a time. They eat together, travel together, and partake in recreational activities on downtimes. But to my mind, this is less about enforcing the so-called rule of law than it is about subverting it. What is most interesting about Carl's arrest is not the charges, but the conditions which require him to stay away from 1492 Landback Lane and not have any communications with the owners of the housing development, Foxgate Developments. This means that as a journalist, he actually can't do his job. He can't go to the site and report Indigenous voices, and he can't report the developer side of things. That makes no sense. The public needs to know what's happening, and we've learned that we cannot rely on police statements, which are notoriously biased and at times inaccurate. The Canadian Association of Journalists President Brent Jolly said, quote, "The OPP are well aware that journalists have an established constitutional right to be present and cover matters of public interest. Attempting to prevent a journalist from documenting a moment of contentious action is impermissible in a country like Canada. Journalism should never be silenced." Similarly, President of the Canadian Journal for Freedom of Expression, Phil Tunley, said, "It is particularly disappointing at this time to see another police force not only exceeding its powers, but undermining the efforts of Canadians and governments to pursue reconciliation with First Nations peoples." In their joint statement, these two groups also reminded us that this is the third time in recent years that police have charged the media covering Native disputes. Melissa Cox was covering Wet'suwet'en solidarity actions when she was charged by the police, but those charges were later thrown out in court. Similarly, Justin Brake, who had embedded himself with local Indigenous peoples who were breaking a court order to resist the construction of Muskrat Falls, was also criminally and civilly charged. even though he was acting in his capacity as a journalist. But later, Justin won his case. The Newfoundland Labrador Court of Appeal upheld the right of journalists to report on matters of public interest, especially in Indigenous issues. And you would think that would be the end of police silencing journalists covering Native stories. But no, you have to keep in mind that police forces have long histories of embedded racism within their ranks and have actively treated Native peoples like enemies of the state or domestic terrorists. That's why CSIS, DND, RCMP, and other police forces surveil, monitor, and report on us. Historically, police forces have been used to try to control our movements and quell any resistance that we might have to the ongoing theft of our land. Don't forget what happened in Gustafson Lake when the RCMP literally bragged on video about misinforming the public and maligning the Native protesters. A recent nationwide survey showed that 75% of the Canadian public believe that the RCMP have a major problem with systemic racism. And we know that the OPP also has a long problematic history of racism against Native peoples. Nowadays, instead of working on their relationship with us as directed by the Ipperwash inquiry, it seems as though they simply just adjust their tactics so the public can't see their racism in action. During the Wet'suwet'en Solidarity protests, OPP violently arrested peaceful Native peoples. This time around, the OPP are not arresting on site, but instead quietly and behind the scenes, out of the camera's eye, picking off journalists and protesters one by one at their own station. Carl was never arrested the whole time he was at 1492 Lamback Lane. In fact, the OPP emailed him and said, "Hey, give us a call," and then told him to come in for an arrest. No cameras, no social media backlash. Land defenders at 1492 have officially announced that 10 people have been arrested in connection with their occupation just in the last week. They went on to say that this includes Carl, Mohawk researcher Courtney Skye, other Haudenosaunee land defenders, and some non-Indigenous allies. That's why Native journalism is so important. How else are we going to know about this? If it wasn't for this tweet, we wouldn't even know the total number. You don't see the mainstream media embedded on site with the land defenders. And if the OPP continue their tactics of arresting people quietly behind the scenes so that we don't know what's happening, that just makes it all the more difficult for the public to know the injustice that's being inflicted on the situation. Now, the land defenders have also stated that to them, this is an escalation of violence by the OPP designed to intimidate their supporters and to try to stop supplies coming into the camp. You see, this works really well for the OPP. They don't seem to care if they are slapped on the wrist later, so long as they can prevent Native peoples from occupying the lands now and prevent journalists from covering the story now. Instead, both Native land defenders and journalists are being criminalized for defending their inherent, constitutionally and internationally protected land rights and freedom of the press. But you don't ever see the cops rolling in to help protect our Native land rights from anybody else. The OPP needs to stop criminalizing our peoples and our journalists. Let our journalists do their jobs. Let's all join Six Nations and the land defenders in supporting Carl and his ability to continue to report on what's happening. For those of you who want more details about Carl's arrest, I'll post the link to my extended Warrior Life podcast interview with him, as well as the YouTube video that I uploaded. You should check it out because he makes a very important call to action for Canadians. I'll also post the link to the Canadian Association of Journalists press release and the Canada Land interview with Carl for more details. I also joined Carl and Sean on One Dish, One Mic this weekend and will post a link to that discussion too. So make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a video about these important issues that impact all of our rights. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time, stay alert, warriors.